Welcome to channel Make your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once you see all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now, today's video, let's talk about DAMA, the designated agreement, the labor agreement. Now, what's labor agreement now? It's an agreement that the federal government, well, obviously, will be the Department of Home Affairs or Immigration, will sign with an employer, an Australian employer, in order to assist an Australian corporation, company, or business to actually seek out for skilled labor or skilled migrants in a sector that is well, traditionally not common. It's not what you see, you know, in the city or in the general public. So these are type of stuff. For example, you know, people, they are specialized skilled worker working in the meat industry, in casino, in all sorts of other stuff. So recently, over the past, well, 2020, there was an announcement, and recently with the new Labor government, there has been two more labor agreement has been signed off. So let's have a look and how you can actually utilize, and obviously by the end of this video, I will comment on how likely one could actually get this type of visa. Now, let's have a look at the first news. This was, well, it's actually last week. So the 12th of July, it's something that, as you can see, this is bolster Queensland Police Force. I mean, this is really uncommon. So who will actually ever to actually get this kind of job or position? So obviously there's a lack of police force in the state of Queensland, where the Premier of Queensland, Anastasia Palaszczuk, is seeking for assistance to bolster and increase the number of police officers. You know, they can actually come in. They need 500 new police officers. So look, if I don't know if any of you is an experienced police officer, I'm not too sure how they're gonna assess a police officer's skill and experiences. I'm assuming, as you can see, the statement is saying that over 15,000 expression of interest has been received from QPS of skilled police officer all around the world. Wow, there's so many people want to be police in Queensland. With the most interest received from UK, Canada, and South Africa. So as you can see, those police officers are actually being trained in the what should I say, the similar state of nation. So they probably just don't like where they live. They are looking for a better lifestyle to work in Queensland. So there are over 300 active applicants in the pipeline finalize the first job offer. So really, I don't know how that works. So as you can see, this is one of the examples how government of Australia or the Department of Home Affairs is utilizing so-called labor agreement to actually help a corporation. Now this corporation is actually the state of Queensland to get some sort of job forces, you know, uncommonly. As you can see, you don't come to Australia to study to become a police officer. I mean, I don't know if it's open a course for international students. So as you can see, it's really uncommon. So well, that is why I have never really talked about this in the YouTube, but there are actually a few more I want to share with you. Now the next one is what I have received large amount of inquiry talking about the aged care sector, as the aged care sector has recently popped up to the as a topic because the current government, the Labor government, is looking to bolster the aged care industry as well. So you may want to Google and you can find this web page as well. So basically it says Australian aged care provider can now apply access to new aged care industry labor agreement. The aged care industry labor agreement is streamlined to recruit qualified direct care worker from overseas to work. So again, now how do they assess the experience? That's the hard part where the ambiguity is. It's basically as long as the employer or the corporations say yes to whoever they want, just like how they done it with the police. I doubt if you're a police officer in Japan, in Hong Kong, in India, in China, will actually be accepted by the Queensland Police or Queensland State of Queensland. But now looking at this one, the aged care, I think the same. So obviously, a lot of people has been listened to. I mean, there has been a flood of information by a lot of agencies are pushing through what? They are pushing through, let's come to Australia and study. Here we go, because it indicates some sort of certifications. Here we go. Key visa applicant requirement, as you can see here. It says hold a relevant AQF certificate 3 or equivalent or higher qualification, and you can also have 12-month relevant work experiences or part-time equivalence. What does that mean? So that means you can or cannot. You know, experience is an option. Okay, and let's just roll back a little bit. It's looking for nursing support worker, personal care assistant, aged care disability carer. So when I go into, first of all, I went to where? I went to the skill occupation list. Now, you cannot, no, that's not nursery personnel, that's the next topic. You cannot technically find those jobs in the occupation list, okay? Because it's not in the preferred occupation. As I said, the labor agreement is generally for occupation that is uncommon, that is not listed on the occupation list. So if you want to follow this, now that's the hard part. Now they are currently apply for aged care industry labor agreement. If you're the aged care employer, you need to go through Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation or Health Services Union or the United Worker Union to actually apply. Once MOU is established, aged care provider can submit, and you need to go to the EMI account to do it. That's for the employer. But if you are the visa applicant, this is the goody stuff. So 2 year you can become a permanent resident. It's streamlined, blah blah, all that. And there's a concession on English, and there's also concession on the salary. You only required to earn up to an annual income of 51,222. I don't know how odd they got this kind of number, but that's what it's required. Now the problem here is a lot of people will go, all right, so let's study that certificate 3 course. However, because those occupation is not in the list. Now the question comes, when I graduated, now if I don't straight away get that visa, the labor agreement, which is under 482 visa, what's gonna happen to me? My visa expire and it's gone. You cannot get a graduate work visa like subclass 485. Now I'm gonna answer that at the end of this video. Now let's look at the next labor agreement, which actually came out in 2020 from the last government. Now they probably will do some update on this one. It's the horticulture. If you have been following my channel long enough, I mean 2 or 3 years, you probably have gone through this as well. It's similar because the horticulture industry is lack of people working there. It's actually during the COVID pandemic. I mean, if you wanted to search this occupation, a lot of them, if you see this 070499 with asterisks, means you cannot even find this on the ENSCO, and not talking about going to the actual skill occupation list. Now, again, the problem exists is that the once you study the course, I mean, there's definitely a course for horticulture. Then what's next? I mean, it's the same thing. I think for horticultural professions, they're gonna update this because the criteria here, obviously, for the employer, you need to apply, with the immigration to get that labor agreement done, and then there's a discount of 10% on the TISMIT. However, back then the TISMIT was 53,900. Now it's 70,000. So is this one still the same? Or I think they're gonna update that, and plus they are still talking about the pathway of 3-year working pathway. So I believe that will be a major update coming in the second half of this year as well, because that's all gonna be streamlined to what we have seen for the aged care as well. So 2 years. That's where the 2-year thing that's down there. Okay, now, talking about the solution. Now, if you study those courses, I think it's gonna be Certificate 2 or Certificate 3. Once you graduate with 1 year, what visa do you hold? Now, there is certainly a solution. However, I do believe that the government of Australia, the Department of Home Affairs and Immigration, will definitely, once they revamp the skill occupation list for the point test table, obviously they're going to do the same thing for the employment sponsor visa. They must do something, just like how they have done it for the pathway for 491 to 191, where they waived out the income threshold requirement. So what do you do for once you graduate from either aged care courses or the horticultural courses? Now, this will be the temporary solution at this point in time, not until the new policy. I believe the government will do something there. You will require to go through, or they probably do a new pathway for 407. This is what I'm talking about right now, or a new pathway for 408, just like how they had invented the 408 for the COVID visa. Same thing. So this is called training visa. As you can see, it's up to 2 years, which is better than the 485 visa. And the only hard part is not just to graduate. You need to find a sponsor. Now, this sponsor will require to provide a training plan, which is not hard to do. Usually, the course provider and they cooperate with the workforce and employer. They should have some sort of training plan as long as they can have it. If you toggle to the sponsor, you can see provide occupation training directly. So they require to demonstrate a training plan, which required to be done and to be nominated. And there's you must be 18, and there's no other age limitations. And as you can see, you only need functional English, which is very, very low. It's lower than what's required for 485 visa. And then you get that 2 years visa. So then ultimately, once you get into this visa, you are then connected to the labor agreement, which is so-called DARMA, and that's going to the 482 visa with a pathway to permanent residency. So that will be the solution currently. Not until the government of Australia come up with a policy to actually revamp, which I believe they're definitely gonna do it, because they have announced for the Queensland Police pathway and also the aged care. Now they obviously require to update all the other one as well. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.